Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, may I have your attention, please? Are you ready to engage in a mind-blowing experience and hear talks about life, technology, entertainment, and business? The next episode of HIPTHER Talks starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to HIPTHER Talks. My name is Jasper and I will be your host today. In this episode, we have quite an interesting topic, and I have a little introduction for it. So most people have a positive view of youngsters and students that wish to work while studying. We regard them as mature and responsible people who not only aim to study and improve themselves, but also to become increasingly independent and self-reliant, and also being a useful member of society. Recently, however, professionals have been pointing out the importance of living an age-appropriate lifestyle as well. I wish to find out today what the advantages and disadvantages of working at a young age are, and what the proper way is to approach youth work. Helping me find the answer to these questions, I have Henny and Alex, two students studying in the Netherlands. So Henny, Alex, thank you for being here and welcome to HIPTHER Talks. And my very first question will be, I will ask you to introduce yourselves because I think you will do a much better job than I can.
Okay, then I'm going to start if you don't mind. Hi, my name is Henrietta Lukács. I am, yes, as you mentioned, a student in the Netherlands. I study at the University of Twente. And on the side, ever since my first year, I have been working. And yeah, I think that's all.
Yes. My name is Alexandru Amariei. I'm in the Netherlands for 5 years already. Did my bachelor here in psychology, and now I'm doing my master's in human factors engineering psychology at the University of Twente. And if we're talking about work, I started working also in my first year, I think after the first semester, like officially working. And since then, yeah, I've been through like 2 jobs and an internship and some other work. And now I'm working as a project coordinator in Design Lab. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, this is your third job that you are doing right now, right?
If we are, yeah, pretty much the third job I'm doing in here.
What about you, Henny?
Well, for me, it's the second job here in the Netherlands, but if you ask like generally in my life, it is a third job because before coming to study, to become a student, I still had another job in Switzerland for a summertime.
Yes, I was just asking because, while you were answering this question, it also came to my mind. I also thought of myself, and I also consider myself to be a young, a student worker, let's just say like that. And this is actually my fourth job, I think, here at HIPTHER. So yeah, it's quite interesting to think about the fact that I'm 21. I suppose you guys are both quite of the similar age. Okay, so how old were you actually when you got your first proper job, and what was it?
So if you're not counting like random gigs done back in Romania, which I'm not going to count, I'm going to talk about what I've done here mainly. I was 20 when I got my first job, and I started as a delivery guy at Domino's. I don't know if we're making like free marketing, free promotion, but yeah, that was my first job here. And I've worked there for almost 3 years, if I put everything in total, like 3 years, more or less. During the same time, yeah, I did also an internship, which was my second job, and also started working in here. So they kind of overlapped to some degree.
What about you?
Yeah, the funny thing in the whole situation is that me and Alex actually has been doing almost the same jobs because it was my second jobs. But when I came here, I also started working at Domino's as a delivery person. And after that, I came to Design Lab, where he works at the moment, and now we are colleagues again. But before that, before coming to the Netherlands, I think at the age of 18, yes, like right after when I became 18 in the summer, I got an opportunity to go work in Switzerland in a remote mountain area in a spa. It was for a shorter period of time, only for 3 weeks, but I was kind of taking care of the people who just came to have fun there. Yeah, that was a well-paying job, but I just noticed pretty quickly that in the moment that I don't have things to do with my mind, it gets very boring for me after a while. So ever since, I think that's my trajectory, that I've been trying to look for something which also made me engage somehow on a knowledge base, not only with my hands or with other means.
We have talked about all these positive aspects of working as a student, but like I said in the introduction, there is increasingly more discussion about living an age-appropriate lifestyle. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean when a 15-year-old is a 15-year-old, he or she is supposed to live an age-appropriate lifestyle, so he or she is supposed to behave and live and do things or things that are usually done by a 15-year-old. So parties, festivals, whatever. Okay, maybe not 15-year-old, but let's say 18-year-old. Okay, fair enough. That's a completely other discussion. But I suppose you get what I'm trying to say. So it's not okay when recently there have been a lot of or increasingly more accounts of burnout, people burning out quite when they are quite young, at quite a young age. And people realizing at the age of 40, let's say, that they have a company and they accrued a lot of money, but they didn't really have a childhood, a proper childhood. And that also can be quite unhealthy in many ways. So what I want to ask you guys is, has working ever produced any drawbacks with regards to either your academic performance, when we talk about university or high school, or your childhood life, let's say?
For the childhood life, I didn't really work in the real sense of the word when I was a child. Like, again, if you exclude volunteering and some things doing there and there, but I can talk from how it affected me. Like for my first job especially, I remember that because I was here trying to get used to the new social environment, to the university life, to being pretty much on my own, trying to figure out everything starting from bills to taxes. It was a bit more complicated to also have a job and try to balance everything out. In my first year, it affected me because I didn't have this balance and I failed one of my classes. So that was a bit of a personal disappointment. But afterwards, just trying to work and get used to it, I think it got better. I think I've reached quite a nice balance, like in my second year. However, then you're talking about then I'm talking about a job that required more like like physical type of work. When I switched, like for example, for my second job, when I worked as a research assistant at the Faculty of Law in Maastricht, that job I changed completely the type of work. It more sort of mental work. Try to do that. Try to be more attentive and do your stuff. I had to stay at the desk most of the time. Then the strain became way more. I was rested physically, but I could feel starting to become more and more tired on a mental point of view. Just being hit from all the sides. Do that. Do your studies, do your classes. Maybe the stress was bigger back then, and in the end it resulted with all of the things in a burnout. So I gained the balance, I switched the environment, I lost the balance, and I had to regain it again. Now it's fine, but it's just a process. It's just trying to adapt to the new circumstances, new conditions of a job, of your studies, of your personal life and personal matters. So yeah,
Would you say
you
it
have
would
to
be
work in order
easier?
to manage your work properly.
And would you say it would be easier now if you again had to change the environment that you're working in and the job that you are doing as well into a completely different one? Would it be easier for you now to adapt? So did it offer any agility or more, did it improve you in the sense of becoming more flexible, let's say?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because looking at myself when I was 19, 20, when I started working and came here, and I was pretty much like, didn't really know much. It was a learning curve. All of these are learning experiences that I might have not been able to learn everything from them, but they definitely shaped me and definitely shaped the way I work, the way I behave, and the way I'm able to balance things out. Like right now, when I maybe will sound a bit, I don't know, strange, but I kind of see when I'm reaching my tipping point when it's about work, and I know that I have to stop in advance so I don't reach it and be overworked and sacrifice my mental well-being. So definitely all these experiences, even if some of them were not pleasant, they helped in learning and shaping how I tackle with the same issues now from a personal point of view.
Henny?
Yeah, for me, I can't say that it stopped me in any academic performance or something. In fact, actually, I think it really helps me and has helped me a lot getting just into a flow where I can make sure that I get everything done, because in the moment things get a little bit slower for me. Of course, I need periods. I need times when I just slow down. I focus on myself. I relax. But in the majority of the cases, I need things to get moving. So actually having to work and bringing into my time schedule a different layer, which kind of gave a, let's say, skeleton to my week, because I knew that I'm going to work on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And from that point on, I have time for other things, for studying on every other day. Maybe the fact that I promised myself before actually getting the first job here at Domino's that I'm not going to let this job go on my studies. So my studies are the number one priority since I'm here, since I got the opportunity to actually come study abroad and be I think in an impeccable environment, if I can say that. So I said that it's not going to be an issue here. And then luckily it hasn't been ever since. After that, at Domino's, I've been working, just to give you a perspective, around 60 hours per month, part-time. Now I'm working around 80 to 100 hours per month, doing the same academic performance that I've been doing in the first year. So I think in that sense, it has only helped me becoming even more focused and even more goal-oriented, if you can say that. So
can I bring something in this?
Yes,
because
please.
something I forgot. It's, as I said, the type of work was different from like the Domino's, the second to this, like in this job. And I think I pretty much speak for both of us on that. When in this job, the job we are doing now, due to the fact that we have such a like more international, more diverse community and team, and also way more challenges. Like every day is a new challenge, but in the best sense of the word possible. It just keeps me and us way more engaged and more happy. Like I'm sometimes, in all honesty, at Domino's, like when I was waking up in the morning, I was like, damn, I have to go for like 8 hours today just driving the rain. Like I was despising it. Here I come every day like with a smile on my face. I think this is also a big factor of why I don't mind that now I'm working 100 and something hours per month at all?
Obviously, I think that's a very important factor when talking about how much it affects you, or how much it affects your mental well-being or professional success. But I think the moral of the story here, that it can be very, very subjective. One thing that is for sure, that in the moment you don't have but an effective time management, I think it becomes very hard and very problematic to make sure that you also have everything done on an academic level, and you have everything done on the work level. So, but it definitely learns you or teaches you things that can help.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem to not know from the start how to manage your time.
No.
But it's important to become aware of the fact that, hey, maybe this job is affecting me to some degree, and then okay, I need to do something for it. I need to reduce it. I need to properly organize, as Henny said, just create certain days, certain time slots that could match the study amount with the work amount. And yeah, some people are learning them and are knowing this and learning it sooner. Henny, for example, I'm going to give my example. For me, it took a bit longer and it affected my study performance. Looking back, it was fine. I still was able to do everything and repair the things. And now it's better than it was before.
Yeah, I think I could say easily that for me, if I would not be working, I think it would be harder to get my week straight and to get things done. Because like ever since I also started now a semester when I'm not tied to university schedule, so it's completely free riding, if I can say that. So I don't have any lectures or tutorials or such. I just have the deadline and the material, and I need to get everything done in time, which might offer also a little bit more challenge here, because it's so much easier to come to this place, to Design Lab, to just have fun with people and work here instead of doing your academic things. But I think this mental pressure that I have, that I need to get things done, and I can't just let it go because I need to finish this university, obviously helps me doing my things.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more, especially about this part about having a semi-strict schedule, let's say. For me as well, I can completely, I can say that having to wake up every morning at around the same time and having to go in to the office. I actually have that's something very interesting. I have the possibility to work here in the office or to work from home, because it's actually an office job. And I've tried both, obviously, especially when I'm at university. It's in a completely different city, so then I can only work from home. However, whenever I have the possibility, I come in the office, because I can clearly see that it helps me so much in organizing my time. I work significantly more effectively when I'm here. I think people need that, and I think especially young people who were not required, let's say, as much until that age to kind of have a routine in their days. It's unbelievably helpful to have this structure, and it teaches you responsibility as well, because you are responsible for waking up every morning, and you are responsible for taking care of everything you have to take care of. And you guys said, when you do not have that, it is way easier to get lost without doing anything. The whole day is over, and you find yourself still sitting in bed and looking at videos that you didn't even want to watch, but because it was there and because you were not in a rush, it was like, I will take care of these few things that I will have to take care of. I can watch this video. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I completely agree with that part. As of now, you both said you are doing the same thing. You are working there in that design lab. in a few words, could you guys give us a few details about what you are doing there?
I think it's worth starting what is Design Lab, firstly.
Yeah.
So Design Lab is an experimental environment within the University of Twente, which was basically founded and built for students to work and to have the opportunity to work in a transdisciplinary environment. So it basically facilitates people to come here to sit together from different study backgrounds with different issues, with different aims, and to sit together and work together on different societal challenges. So Design Lab is also run by students. That's also a characteristic of it, which makes it very unique, that everything that is happening within the building is decided and arranged by students. Okay, obviously we have other people helping out in the background, but usually everything is done by us. And the both of us are the coordinators of this student team.
And if we go, perfect description. If we go in a bit more details about the individual roles, like both of us started as part of the student team and then got to be coordinators. I'm focused more on the coordination of projects, so project management to some degree, if you want to call it.
What are the projects? Because I cannot touch upon that.
Yeah. And projects can refer to projects that are started at the initiative of one of the members of the student team. For example, if somebody has an idea of making a podcast, we also have a podcast. They're just we just consult with them, like, hey, I want to do this. What are the possibilities? Then me and my other colleague, we go through the possibilities for the budget, see how it aligns with the aims of the lab, with the aims of the team, and with the things we want to do. We allocate budget, we do planning, and we just facilitate them in order to reach their goal and to the project. This is an internal project, let's say, that's just in here. However, there are multiple types of projects like external collaborations. A quick example I can give is one collaboration that just ended with the Safety and Security Campus from the Netherlands, which is a coalition of different parties from the Ministry of Defense, like the National Police, Army, Fire Brigade, which was really nice working on robotics with them, or making projects, creating different type of installations for buildings within the UT, or
Amsterdam Light
Festival, yeah. Working at the Dutch Design Week,
yes.
yeah, which is the things that's coming at us now, and just making installations, creating a narrative of the whole University of Twente. Still mostly helped and run by students or with students, with our team. There are holding workshops, there are tons of projects that can be done. So this is mostly on my side, if I can say.
I think which is very nice about Design Lab, that what we did not mention before, that it also has its own research agenda, and we are looking into a very specific field of study, which is called responsible futuring. It's very new, and it's only kind of us who are doing this, but like, I'm not gonna go into the depth about what is responsible futuring. It's very interesting if you would like to find out.
Probably in a nutshell is doing design with as many things in mind as you can relate to the future implication of the different stakeholders, society, on and on and on.
So basically combining citizen science, transdisciplinary way of working, and responsible design as well. But yeah, that's enough about that thing. But the fact that we have a very specific agenda that we are working on. I think, talking from my perspective, I study public administration, and for me, it has helped a lot on an academic level as well. So I can very much feel that ever since I'm part of Design Lab, and ever since I'm working like even more in-depth topics within Design Lab on an academic level, it has helped me a lot. So I'm not sure if you can say the same.
Yeah, no, I can definitely say the same. And I'm like looking from my perspective as a project coordinator. I know, for example, it helped you with one of the projects we have, our Right to Scale, which was about regional innovation. And Henny was there, was there like, ooh, interesting.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And it helped me as well. It helped me just to develop from a professional point of view, but also developed on my academic agenda and research agenda. Like I said, I was a research assistant before, but here going a bit more in this space, which is bridge between academia and industry just helps a lot to get the perspectives and learn on how to do things and how to do things more responsibly. Sounds cheesy, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it might be cheesy, but I think it's very much needed in nowadays society.
Yeah, just by the way you both talk about this, it's so clear that it's something that constantly keeps you on your toes, and I think both of you mentioned this word. It's something that engages you, and I believe that this is also something that's important when young people are looking to do something and looking for a job. Obviously, it takes time and it takes a few tries to realize what people enjoy and what they don't. So I don't necessarily think that it's the best possible thing to have a very clear idea of what you wish to become. And then if you don't question that ever, and if you don't give an opportunity for yourself even to find out whether that is true in the deepest sense possible or not, or it's just something that parents tell us to become doctors because it's a well-paid job and it's whatever, it's something that I suppose we are all familiar with, and also that's why if someone asked you, I guess, whether you've ever wanted to actually become a delivery person for Domino's, you would say no. But that shouldn't discourage people from beginning somewhere, because you have to begin somewhere in order to get to that point where you wish to arrive. So and because you also
something on that.
Of course.
Can I just say something on that? Yeah, I used to think, again, talk from a personal point of view, I used to think that, you need to have like a clear thing in life. Since I don't know, 15, 16, I want to become a doctor. But then it's like, things are changing every day. And as long as you have your clear goals in mind from a personal point of view, for example, I want to just make things good for people. Then there are different ways of doing this. Like, looking at my background, I studied psychology. I worked in the faculty of law. Now I'm working in an environment that's close to psychology, but not quite. And I'm doing project management. I don't know if I'm going to do this after, after this year, let's say, when I'm going to be done. But what I can say for sure is I like it. I discovered that I like it just by doing it. And there's definitely a possibility for me in the future to also employ at least techniques from that in doing something maybe related to my field, like usability, ergonomics, human factors, or not, or just change my path completely. It's just giving options, giving possibilities, and giving different perspectives you can use, I would say, pretty much everywhere. I think this interdisciplinarity is something that could be used by everyone and should be used more, because if you just stay, again, if I would have stayed just in my psychology bubble, I don't think it would have been good for me in the long run. I'm sure it wouldn't have been.
Absolutely. And that's why I think people should and almost must give a go to and take all the options they can in terms of volunteering and in terms of working somewhere, because in each and every one of those environments and while doing each and every one of those tasks, people get to understand themselves better in some sense. Like you both said that your very first jobs taught you about how to value the money you gain and how to manage your finances more effectively. I suppose the job that you are doing now is more about other things, more about, communication, more about related to your academic studies as well, which is another plus with that is not always the case. So yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you guys. And I think that, my next question would be how can one find balance? Let's not necessarily talk about personal situations, but in general, what would be your key takeaway of this discussion for someone who is starting out in real life and someone who is looking for a job, let's say?
It's almost a philosophical question. How can one find balance? Well, if I would look at it from a very practical perspective, one thing that has helped me a lot that so you have different aspects of your life, right? You have maybe academics, you have university, you have work, you have social life, you have moral, whatever. But I just always took the different aspects of my life, and I just looked at it. Do I have a clear schedule in this thing? Do I have a clear agenda, if I might say that, in that perspective? And when I did, I just tried to start slowly building up. I always try to plan my life ahead, not in terms of years, not in terms of goals that I want to achieve, but only based on time. For example, here in the Netherlands, we have modules. So 4 modules build up an academic year, and I always try to plan for a module. I always start, this is one thing that I really like about the academic environment, that I know that, okay, in these 10 weeks that are about to come now, the learning objectives or the goals that I need to reach are that and that and that. And knowing that, I always start with trying to make a clear time schedule that, okay, in order to be able to fit into these 10 weeks, both the reaching of the learning objectives, the exams, my work, my social life, my trips that I want to take, my going back home to visit my family and friends, then I need to keep myself to that thing that I planned on well in advance. So, and actually making it in a way that I have a complete overview of all the 10 weeks. So I see the 10 weeks underneath each other, saying that, okay, now you're there. The deadline is there. You should hurry up and you should start doing something. That has definitely helped me a lot. Obviously, it can work differently for different people, but this is something which, from a practical perspective, can be an answer for the philosophical question.
I second what Henny said, most of it. I know it's hard to do proper planning most of the time, but I think it's really good just thinking from a personal point of view, also from a project point of view. It's really good to plan things in advance and just try to anticipate things that are going to happen and how work is going to affect study and vice versa. I think this is really good, and it's a skill after all. You need to learn how to do it, and it's not going to be perfect from all of the time. And at the same time, even with the best planning in the world, there still might be like an unexpected situation that's going to turn things around. But it is what it is after all. I want to add, like from my point of view, and what helped me a lot is reflecting on what went wrong in some situations. For example, sorry. When, as I said, when I started working and I realized that it affects my study load, I was like, okay, let me sit and think about it, why it affected. And I was thinking like, oh, because I took way too many shifts. I was staying overtime, even if I wasn't supposed to. And this was taking time for my study. I was taking shifts exactly before the exam. So I think also just looking back, reflecting and knowing and becoming aware of what went wrong in a situation and in what threw the balance off between these two things is a really important skill that people should develop. So yeah, Henny gave me more the future perspective and how to plan things ahead.
Yeah.
I'm saying from my perspective, it's really good. That is really good, but it's also really good to look in the past. Obviously. And I can learn from it and do a bit of introspection, look at it like just try to determine what will work the best for you in the future in the light of the things that didn't go well in the past.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you for sticking around and listening to this bit of a longer episode of HIPTHER Talks. You can find us and listen to all the other episodes on a number of different broadcast applications, such as Spotify, Google Podcasts, and all the others. I can't even remember them now. And hope to see you all as soon as possible. Whee!
Thank you for joining. Be sure to check back next week for the next HIPTHER Talks and subscribe on Amazon Music, Overcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, and Pandora.